Brothers and sisters, Presbyter King coming to you from the ancient Antiochian Church of God. I promised that we would be giving more detail regarding our revelations and understandings of the book of Revelation chapter 13 and the coming forth of that beast out of the great sea, the Mediterranean Sea, that sea connecting the coastlines of Jerusalem, all the way to modern-day Rome. And so the beast coming up out of the sea means this beast, in our understanding, is coming from Rome and headed towards Israel in these last days. We're talking about the setting up of a new government. And, when we turn on the news today, we hear chatter about socialistic ideas and communistic ideas being floated around. And it's like the Antichrist spirit is trying to create a soil of acceptance for such nonsense, for such dictatorial ideas of government, which we know are not according to God's plan, and they don't work, and they're full of sin and pride. And people who turn off God, they look for man for the final answers and help for all things. They look for a dictator. They look for a big government that will supply them with all their needs, because God's not doing enough for them, so government will replace God. Now, in Bible prophecy, we have in Daniel, he had visions that the angel Gabriel gave him of great beasts. And in Bible prophecy, beasts represent two things. They represent government powers, and they represent government leaders. When we talk about a beast arising out of the sea, we're not necessarily talking about the Antichrist taking over that government yet, but we are talking about the formation of a government. Daniel saw the beast of a lion, and from 606 to 538 BC, that was the Babylonian kingdom. In vision, he saw the vision of the beast of a bear, and that was the Medo-Persian Empire, which reigned from 538 to 330 BC. Then he saw Greece represented by the beast of a leopard, and that lasted from 330 BC to 31 BC. And then finally the nondescript beast, the amalgamated monstrous beast, which represented Rome, starting in 30 AD, and that was a divided kingdom up to 364, and then breaking off into 476. And the two longest parts of that statue, also of Daniel's dream, representing the legs of iron, also represent the longest ruling government, which is Rome. And we go over to Revelation 13, and we see a government being represented by a beast coming up out of the sea. Again, I've said that the sea represents the Great Sea or Mediterranean Sea, which connects to modern-day Rome. And the Bible seems to indicate, and we've discussed this in previous studies, that there's going to be a revival of a new government that comes together, much like Rome. Rome of old took over many different lands, and they became a great power. And so John says in Revelation 13:1, I saw a beast coming up out of the sea. He had 10 horns, 7 heads, with 10 crowns on his horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. Now, in a previous study, I covered that those 7 heads represent 7 different Caesars, including all the way up to Nero. And that Nero, of course, was the one that martyred many saints. All of the Caesars, towards the last 3 or 4 Caesars especially. And Nero, under Nero, it was Apostle Peter and Apostle Paul that were martyred in Rome under him. And 7 also represents completion. And we know that there's a blasphemous name written on these 7 heads. So they also point to a political religious power, because the only body or group that can blaspheme is a religious body. A government body can't really blaspheme unless it's trying to replace true religion, Christianity, with a false religion. That's blasphemy. So the 7 represents not just government, the completion of coming together of a final government power, which was typified by the Caesars of old, but it also represents a religio-political power, a false spiritism being practiced by and enforced by this government. 10 is a number of universality. If we count our thumbs as fingers, we hold up all 10 of our fingers, then it shows that's universal. You can't add anything else to that. 10 became a number of the world, the universe, a universal covering. 7 was a number of completion. And so we understand 7 to be a completely totalitarian government. It's going to be completely imperfect coming, a glorifying man, and we also recognize that this government's going to be ruling the world because 10 represents the universality, and it has 10 crowns, which means that he was given power to make war against the saints and to conquer them, and he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 7. This is a global power coming into formation. We're witnessing it now because we're witnessing the formation of socialism and communism coming into free world countries such as Great Britain and America. Democratic Republican countries and nations now are starting to create the soil to prepare the government, the Antichrist government. Revelation 13 verse 2, the beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like a lion. This is a monstrous creature. It has the representation of earlier nations, but all mixed together in one, showing again that it is a one world system coming into formation. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. Now notice, the dragon is identified in Revelation chapter 12 verse 9 as Satan himself. Satan is setting up this beast government. The dragon gave the beast this government that's being set up, which we're watching, quite frankly, when we turn on the news now. The dragon gives this government power and a throne. It has to be set up with a throne before it can be given a mouth, which is in verse 5. The final Antichrist will come once the government is formalized. Before the harpazo, or the catching away of the church, that where he is, Jesus is, we may be also. Before that, we now, brothers and sisters, in the ecclesia dispensation of time, in the church dispensation, are witnessing the formation of this beast come out of the water, and we're witnessing the dragon starting to form a throne of rulership for it to be inhabited. Ultimately, when we get to verse 5, the beast was given a mouth. That's when the beast becomes the final Antichrist and his government. The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise his authority for 42 months. That's at the end of the last of the 7 years. 42 months is 3.5 years. So in the middle of Daniel's 70th week of years prophecy, which is a different prophecy, watch our 77s prophecy to understand that. In the middle of the tribulation, he is going to stand up and proclaim himself to be God. It's the abomination of desolation. The true Antichrist won't be known to those left behind ultimately until the middle of the Antichrist, when he stands up and presents himself. And the throne for that moment in time to occur is being set up now in our time, as early as our time, in the church age, the church dispensation. We're watching it happen. This is why Jesus tells us to watch, pay attention. And if you study with us here at the ancient Antiochian Church of God, you will know where you stand, brother and sister, on the stage of prophetic history. Keep your Bibles with you at all times. Pray without ceasing. Talk to you soon.